It's the beginning of another weekend. Welcome to the show. I am Obiajulu Olabisi Ugbo, and with me are the ladies. We're supposed to have Nima, but she's running late because of traffic. And thank you, Honeypot, for stepping in to save the day.
Welcome, always.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. You look so beautiful.
Thank you. It's TVC's Cultural Diversity Day. They asked us to look, you know, find a way to represent the culture.
And you went for your culture.
Yeah, like a mix. So this isn't actually my culture. This is, I think, from the Akwa Ibom. So what we can mix, we use the beats together. So just pick here, pick here, pick here. We are modern now, so we modernize everything.
Yes.
All right.
Basically, you look amazing, honey.
Thank you so much. In shorts, you know, in just a beat, I had to quickly put this together. And this is just me representing Africa. I am proudly African. Awesome. And yes, it is just a good time to be alive. Cultural Diversity Day. And I said, let me just give them some Ankara. If I don't wear Ankara,
who will? Tell them.
They don't wear Ankara jewelry.
Who will?
Yes. And the head tie. So anywhere you're watching from, all over the world, I am representing Africa. Are we not beautiful?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
So I'm representing Nigeria. Home first. And you know, just as you said, we're modernizing a lot of our cultural attires. It has been modernized. We pick from different ethnic groups and, you know, cultures. And now we just wear it like our everyday outfit. So I was really happy to wear this beautiful, simply elegant dress.
Yeah,
Thank
you look amazing.
You look good,
yeah. The neck piece.
Thank you,
really
thank
cool.
you.
You know how to put those things together. You don't need to teach me. I mean, one-way traffic. Once
you do great.
Yeah, I do. But once I pick, I like things that are easy, that I can just get in and get out.
I know that.
You've noticed, right?
About her. I am their suppliers, but
actually this is from you.
Yeah, so true. So true. So anything happening this weekend before we run off? Any plans for the weekend?
Well, there's the thing happening after this show. TVC is organizing the whole, I mean, it's a whole event. There's going to be cooking, pictures, and I'm looking forward to that.
I'm really looking forward to it too, because there is Canopy, there is a big party right here in TVC.
Yes.
But I don't know if you are invited.
It's just for TVC stars.
Yes, and
let's make them a little jealous. Just for TVC.
Yeah, and I'm going to be focusing on my YouTube channel. As you know that I churn out content every week. So I'm going to be editing this weekend. If I can hang, you know, a little play, I'll do. And then I'll do my jewelry business too. So
I have a meeting after the show, so I'll be running, you know, rushing out. But I think I'll try and rest this weekend. I don't have anything planned for Saturday, except church on Sunday.
Very important.
But I'm looking forward to waking up late Saturday morning, like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Yes, I need that rest. It's very important. It's very, very important. All right, then let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll take the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, let's start with The Nation. Police parade suspected abductors of Baptist school pupils. 21 school children still in captivity. Pantami 5G network for deployment in January. CNPP dismisses PDP's call for Emefiele's exit. Wow. PDP zoning panel meeting inconclusive. Lagos VAT claim is about fiscal federalism. Blocking of terrorism funding yielding results, says federal government. Malami, fresh charges likely against Yoruba Nation agitator Igboho. Army to put officer who maltreated youth corps members on trial. Who has a story in The Nation?
All right, so I have 5G deployment. So the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Patami, yesterday assured that the deployment of 5G technology in the country would begin in January 2022. And he said that all the 4 mobile network operators, MNOs, in the country suffered 16,000 outages over the last 7 months of this year due to infrastructure vandalism. He, however, assured that when the 5G network is deployed, it would aid surveillance against vandalism of public assets.
Okay. Do you have a story?
Yes, I do. So, suspected abductors of the Baptist school pupils have been arrested. This was said yesterday by the spokesman for the police, Frank Mba, where he said that 50 persons were arrested, 48 men, 2 women, and given enough intelligence, they believe that 3 of these 50 that were arrested played a major role in the kidnapping of the 121 Bethel students. And amongst all those, the remaining people, most of them were arrested on charges of murder, kidnapping, cattle rustling, armed robbery, car theft, weapon possessions, distribution of illicit drugs. And there was also a gang that was arrested. These gangs specifically attacked churches and steal the equipment. Then one of them, when they get away, one of them dresses as a military officer, and that's how they're able to get away from police checkpoints. And they've done that over a long period until that they were caught. And just to remind us about the Bethel students and what they have, how long they've been in captivity. So we have July 5th, 121 pupils were abducted from the school. July 24th, 28 pupils released. August 21, another 15 released. August 27, 32 were released. September 18, another 10 were released. As for now, we have 30 of those students still in captivity. And we just hope that with these 3 that have been arrested, it would lead to the rescue of the 30.
Yeah, so the federal government, you took that story yesterday, so it also made the news again today, is saying that they have identified and detained high-profile individuals responsible for funding terrorism in the country. So that's according to the Attorney General of the Federation. He mentioned saying that, in May, they promised they were going to prosecute so many of them, and I think they got about 400 suspected Boko Haram financiers, which they are still prosecuting. And one of the reasons they will not give us their names right now is because we may likely preempt their investigations. But aggressive investigation is ongoing. They blocked all their sources of finance, so they are not getting money. And by the time they are done with everything they need to do, they will, put us up to date when the court has finally said these people are actually the criminals. So we should be patient, and the federal government is doing all it can to fight Boko Haram.
Okay.
All right.
So let's take their word for it. Moving on to the Punch. Pensioners' hardship worsens as states owe backlogs of gratuities. Fani Kayode, estranged wife, sues ex-husband. IG demands 800 million. I wish I read that story. Inflation regulatory costs push banks' operating expenses to 874 billion. Pandemonium as Lagos motorcyclists kill policeman, destroy patrol vehicle. National Assembly's approval unnecessary for e-transmission of results. Reps raise panel to probe leakage of classified documents. While we continue to borrow, says federal government, September bonds oversubscribed. 25 bandits kidnapped Kaduna Baptist students, says suspect, blames desperation. Who has what story in the
I have
Punch?
the major headline, pensioners. Sad story across the nation when it comes to our retirees and their pensions. So these states, Kano, Benue, Osun, Delta, Ekiti, Ondo, Ogun, Rivers, Kwara states are owing pensioners. And we're not talking a few months, a couple of months. We're talking many, many months. So labor leaders and officials of Nigerian Union of Pensioners spoke with Punch journalists, and the story is just sad all around. So for most of the states, they're saying is the state of the economy, poor economy, they're strapped for cash, and that as soon as there's improved cash flow, they would start paying, the pension. So Benue owes about 34 months of pension arrears. 34 months. And he's saying that really the allocation that comes to the states is meager. And so that's why they're unable to make the payments for pension. Then we have Osun State, 15 months. And they said in these 15 months, about 45 retirees have died in August because they're living, they can barely feed. When they're ill, they're unable to pay for their medication.
Healthcare.
And so most of them have, 45 of them have died just in August. There's in Delta State, pensioners have said they have cried to God. They have taken their matter to God, and God will deal with the governor. But the Delta State government has responded quickly and says that if you've taken the matter to God, why are you bringing it out in public? After all, you know that Delta State releases 1.3 billion naira monthly to settle pension arrears. So given this one, this is the only state I've seen an immediate response. We'll wait to hear what the others... The immediate response saying that they are doing something towards paying arrears, apart from those who are saying we're strapped for cash. Kano owes 27 billion in gratuities, has failed to pay benefits since July 2016. Kwara State says about 2,000 pensioners have died in their quest to get their pensions. It's just really sad.
It is.
Now, one thing with the pensions is that the way it's done, really, even with the contributory, you expect that this money is being paid. So this money is supposed to be paid while contributions are made while you're still working. So it's put aside.
For you.
For you. So what have you been doing with the money that is not there for them to use now?
And I don't even understand why they now have to start giving them stipends. Somebody said recently, someone who is an adult should be able to manage their finances. So when they finish their service year, why don't you hand them their money?
Exactly.
Let them, I don't know.
Well, there are arguments on both sides of that. So you can have some, you get monthly payments, which is not bad, to help you live a certain lifestyle.
But don't withhold it.
But the amount is so is really small.
Less than minimum wage.
I get it. It was just 2 days ago or yesterday you were talking about that naval retiree.
Yes, it was
lamenting.
Yeah,
it's just so sad.
Do you have a story here?
Yes, I have the transmission of results. So the Ogun State Residence Electoral Commissioner, Olusegun Agbaje, has said that the commission does not need the backing of the National Assembly and the approval of the National Communication Commission to transmit election results electronically. And, Agbaje disagreed with the National Assembly's position that the Independent National Electoral Commission had no constitutional backing to transmit election results electronically without approval of NCC.
Wow.
So that's the back and forth.
They'll sort it out. So a chief superintendent of police, Kazim Abonde, has been killed during a clash between policemen and motorcyclists in the Ajao Estate area of Lagos State. So according to them, they had an enforcement around that area, and I think they were seizing the motorcycles of those guys. Then they had a major clash between them. And this particular policeman was hacked to death. It was so gruesome. They said he cut his head, his body parts, and everything. And so because of what has happened, they blocked the roads. Most people are not able to even go through. Passengers are not able to, take that road because of that incident. But the matter has been taken to the police. As of the time of this report, the police hasn't gotten back on what next to do. But that area is still very, shady. I just think people around there should be safe.
Yeah, be careful.
So I think we'll take a short break. When we come back, we continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. Let's go to the Vanguard. States have right to collect VAT, says Governor Okowa Emmanuel. Federal government to file fresh charges against Igboho Malami. Federal government bothers only about oil pipelines. Delta. Nimo Bassi. NNPC pulls out 215 billion petrol subsidy from July FAC. Economic gurus disagree as federal government defends borrowings. Over 6,000 delegates for PDP convention. Police nabbed 3 members of bandits gang that kidnapped 226 Bethel Baptist School students. I think you've taken that story. Nemasa boss named winner of 2020 Zik Prize in Public Policy. Strike, we are not owing doctors. Policeman kills scores. Scores wounded as Okada riders go on rampage in Lagos. What do you have in the
Right,
Vanguard?
I have the one of the raging controversy over VAT. So the raging controversy over value-added tax, VAT, continued yesterday with Governor Okowa of Delta State and his counterpart in Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, insisting that collection of tax remained the responsibility of states, while Okowa said states were prepared and, positioned to collect the tax, which he described as consumption tax. And Emmanuel argued that decentralization of collection of the tax would favor every single state in the country. So it is still the back and forth about who collects VAT.
All right. I have a story here, the major headline. So the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, yesterday was justifying the loans taken by the federal government, saying that they are using it to facilitate a lot of infrastructural deficits that we have in the country. And he said they have done quite a lot. He mentioned about a few of the things they've done. Said initially most of the projects they are doing now are projects that monies had been collected from the former administration, but it was just on paper. And that's why they are needing to borrow money to give us that world-class project. And they also said that there's a road project in every state. Today we have started a countdown to when the second Niger bridge, which successive administrations have built only on paper, will be completed. Okay. But, experts are slamming them. I want to take one of them here. So Professor Pat Utomi disagreed with the minister, wondering why the government waited till now to indebt us. And also there's another slam here. So analyst and vice executive chairman, High Cap Securities Limited, David Adonri, said excessive borrowing by this government at the expense of the private sector, which is the engine room of the economy, brings to question the soundness of their economic strategy. The careless use of debt as a financing tool is fraught with calamitous dangers. Wow, we really don't know how to continue the story.
Yes.
Any other story?
Yes, so the organized labor in the food and beverage sector have raised alarm over the plans of federal government to impose tax on non-alcoholic drinks. They're saying that it is not justification to say because there's a 30% excise tax on alcoholic drink, then it should be the same on non-alcoholic drink. They say this is a sector that is struggling to survive, even though the government is saying that they are making so much profit, but that overburdening this sector with too much taxes will bring the collapse of that sector. And we know what that means for all the employees in that sector. And so they're saying that, please, government should really look at their plans on imposing tax because they need to survive. They said the food and beverage and tobacco sector must be taken care of as well. The federal government must engage all stakeholders constructively to arrive at a more beneficial conclusion to save the already struggling companies in the sector that are only surviving on a small profit margin. So, yes, government should involve all stakeholders. I always wonder why we don't do that
before making decisions.
Yes.
It's a problem that we have. We all have it. So let me take the story. Strike. We're not owing doctors. So the federal government insisted that resident doctors who were not paid were only those illegally recruited by the chief medical directors, that's the CMDs, without necessary approval. So according to them, they said for you to recruit, they have to go through different agencies for check. They said the federal ministry involved will give approval. The office of the head of service of the federation will give approval. Budget office will give approval. So these three approvals must be given before someone is gainfully employed into the ministry. But then they had found a way to employ people without these approvals, and they're now asking, thinking that they will pay from there's an account they were planning to pay them from, the GFMIS platform. But I think they got into problem when the government is insisting on the IPPIS, and So I just feel that they should resolve this. At least pay the people that you gainfully employed that pass through all those checks. Let us know that these ones we need to regularize their appointments. Okay. Let's move on to the Sun. PDP, we have no mandate to zone offices of the president. VP Ugwuanyi's committee. We have identified blocked terrorist financiers, federal government. PDP writes UN alleges human rights abuse in Nigeria. Yoruba Nation leader Akintoye accuses federal government of sponsoring pro-Buhari march in the UN. CNPP defends Emefiele slams PDP. Federal government may file fresh charges against Igboho. Only justice, equity can end Biafra agitation, says Governor Autumn. 5G network ready, January 2022, federal government. Ompalan wades into rivers, Imo oil well dispute. I wish I saw this. Collection of VAT by federal government. FIRS remains the federal government. Critics of Buhari's borrowing insincere, according to the minister. Do we have any story in the Sun?
Well, the federal government has said FIRS will continue to collect VAT following the ruling of the Court of Appeal on the matter. We just know the back and forth has been going. We know that Lagos and Rivers states have passed for them into law, by decentralizing the collection of VAT. And so they're saying, all status quo should be maintained until it gets to Supreme. They're going to the Supreme Court. We'll see how that works out.
There's also another story you wanted to take about the army.
Yes. So this happened. There was a video that has been trending, actually. So a female soldier, her name is Lieutenant Chika Anele. She was seen assaulting a female corps member in Cross River, Calabar. They said at the 13th Brigade headquarters. So she was seen fetching dirty water in a bowl, and then she pours it on this NYC member who is fully dressed in her copper regalia. She pours it on her. She asked her to kneel down, and then she takes that bowl and hits her on the head continuously. The Nigerian army has responded. It says it condemns her behavior in strong terms, and that the act is an act of gross misconduct and a cause of monumental embarrassment to the army. And she would be asked to, she's going to be asked to face a panel, and she would be duly prosecuted for her behavior. The female soldier has, I heard in some quarters that she had actually also apologized to the lady. I would really like to know what she thought it was the right thing to do, or what was it that she did that she thought warranted that sort of behavior.
A female soldier.
It didn't just start. It didn't just start.
Exactly.
And it comes in different forms, because I remember when I got into the orientation camp, the first day as I was arriving to the orientation camp, this female soldier asked if I was a nursing mother.
Is it because of the front
lines? Yes, because of my endowment. And so she asked me this question, and I don't know anything about, maybe you're a soldier, maybe you're a, you know me, my typical me. So I said, why did you ask? And so she looked at me again and was like, why are you asking that question? I asked you something, you're asking me another question. I'm like,
about my body.
So I was like, who are you? So at the end of the day, I got away with that. And then she saw me another day. I think she tried something. Now I can't, because it's been a while. Yeah. But that I can remember very well. I think I even said it to Mariah once, and she was like, what's nonsense? How can she be asking you that question?
So did she pick on you throughout your service?
She tried to. She saw me once, and she tried to. But somehow I got away with it.
Let's move on to the Tribune. Collection of VAT by FIRS remains federal government. Assault on corps member, army arrests female officer. You've taken that story. Police arrest 3 suspected kidnappers of 136 Bethel Baptist School students. Futo Alumni Rights Institution want explanation on Pantami's professorship. 2 camps emerge over zoning of offices. Well done to them. No going back on mega protest at the UN. Akintoye, I wish I read this story. Court declares arrest, detention of IPOP activists illegal. Do we have any story here in the Tribune? Yeah, I think that's about, that's all. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on set right now is Mrs. Olufumi Akinyemi, manager at Royal Unisex and Spa for Lush Hair. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ma.
Yeah, but before I come to you, Auntie Nima, what happened today that you came late?
A papa happened. So, good morning.
Good morning.
It's not funny. I left home 6 a.m. as usual, got to Amu, because I'm trying to avoid being robbed. So I don't go through the straight, road. I go through Amu because there you have more lives, shops and lights. And I got there 6:30. I was just happy that let me just drive slowly. And then I saw the traffic ahead. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
I was there from 6:30 till 7:30 before I realized, hey, I've spent 1 hour here. I started to call my reinforcements. LASMA, First Tag Zone, God bless you, for every time. Because they were ahead of the traffic trying to control trucks and tankers, and they didn't know how bad it was inside. And then, as soon as I called, I started seeing effort to move traffic. It took a while, but and with their guidance, I didn't get into the other side traffic. So traffic inwards and outward at Papa this morning is something else. I don't know how people will do it, but God help all of us. And so
sorry about that stress.
Fortunately, Mr. Peter, thank you again. I must mention his name. Peter Emmanuel is the head of the zone. He's extremely helpful to me. And the officer, the military guy, I just don't know your name, but we signaled ourselves, and he started to help as well. Thank you. I always get those.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Sorry for the stress this morning. So back to our guest. Now tell us about the Royal Unisex Salon and Spa.
Okay. It is owned by none other person than my boss, Mrs. Olaide King, and is located at number 46B, Isaac John Street, opposite Reddington Hospital. So we make hairs, we are into pedicure, manicure. We don't have this full spa for now, so we just do the facials, then other stuff that has to do with body and skin. So,
is that why you're looking this peng without makeup?
I think so.
I'm wondering.
I think so.
Because everyone's been asking questions.
Who's your God? Who do you pray to?
Yes. And all of that. All right, so you want to tell us you have something to do with Lush, obviously. So what's the collaboration? What is this all about?
Okay. The thing is, we sell their products. Like, we use their product for our braids, Ghana weaving, anything that has to do with, all this packing gel, the extensions and stuff. And we actually collaborated with them to help market their products while they also help with our salon.
So why Lush? Aside, because there are other brands.
Yeah. We have Expression, we have Darling. But I think Lush has this feel, when you're using the extension, there's this feel. And when you're done with it, it comes out very bright and shining, and all this, the hair glow that you want to have when you're walking and just
flinging.
Yeah. So they have a very nice extension.
Yeah.
And the texture is so sweet.
My God, so you're a hairstylist, the way you're describing the hair. So with your job, what would you say are like the perks of your job, especially when it comes to hairstyling? What do you enjoy most about it? And then what would be the challenges?
What I enjoy most about my job, actually, I don't really make hair because we have hairstylists, we have other people. I only manage. But then the good thing about this job is that the satisfaction the customers get when you're done, when they finish making their hair
and they look at the mirror,
they feel that's my own satisfaction. That is what brings joy to me, because I am able to give my clients value for the money they're paying.
That is so nice.
Awesome. So
what would you say the challenges are?
Okay. Getting customers. I call them clients. And they are like, why are you calling us clients? Fine, it's a salon, but then you're still my client. Getting them and they referring us to other people. It is very hard to satisfy people. Like, okay, this is the first time they are walking into the salon and you're telling them, yeah, you can do this, you can do that, but can you deliver? You have to talk, convince them.
What are some of the things that you do to retain your customers? So I know that is the part that is most difficult.
Yeah, like I call, send first, when they come, first impression lasts long. So the moment they step into the salon, we give them, the customer services. Sweet. We have so many people telling them, no, go to that salon. They will make you feel comfortable. Some people come in there and they're like, this is like home.
Do you give me tea?
Please.
But we give
You
drink,
give coffee.
water.
That you will pay for, that you
No,
take
you
from our
don't.
money,
No,
right?
no, we don't charge. That's just complimentary.
All right, what's your
That's
unique
free.
selling point?
Our unique selling point is how we deliver our job. You know, what we give. Because you don't just come and you're like, I don't like what you do, or you get some and you're like, you send me a message. No. But when you're there, as you're sitting down, we are giving you everything that you want. And our we deliver top notch.
Like after making this hair and I look into the mirror, I say,
You're like, no, you're
you
coming back.
take it out and redo.
No. Just give us a picture. Okay. One thing I trust my stylist for is that once you give them a picture of whatever it is that you want, just sit back and relax.
So what has your relationship with what has your relationship with Lush? How has it given you? What exactly has benefit have you gained? You know?
One thing is, with Lush extension, it makes the job easier, you know? When you're making braids, because it is not everyone that loves the outcome of braids, especially with the extension that you use. Yes. But with Lush, it comes out perfect.
Sleek.
So it makes your hairstyling job easy and you deliver.
Very easy, yeah.
Good.
Stylist,
But you know, one thing I need to ask. Every day I wake up to now, I see young people with different hairstyles and hair trends.
Different colors, yeah.
Yes, colors, lengths, and everything. And look at you, although you put your African thing around, but I can tell your hair color is golden and blonde. So what is the latest one now? What should we be looking out for? And what trend do you think will suit someone like me?
For your kind of person, okay, let me start with you. For your kind of person, I think...
What kind of person?
Yeah, I think
Braids.
That's what she's been wearing.
Yeah, but I think
whole year now.
No, I think...
God will bless you. Just reiterate it
That's
again.
me, right?
Braids, Sabi.
For her now.
I can see your hair.
But you can see my
Her
face.
face and her personality.
I'm not going to say... do you wear my hair?
Yes, she does.
I like frontal, yeah. I think that would look good.
Frontal works.
Yeah,
What
but
about me?
What about Nima?
Just cover me. Thank you. How do you know my favorite? 10 hands for you.
So tell us, what are the advantages of having a physical salon? So I know a lot of people sell hairs now. They don't have, let's not mention names, but they don't have physical salon. What is it for you?
You know, the advantage is you walk in to see what you're buying. It's not that I'm telling you, okay, this is what I have. It's not audio. So you come in, you feel the texture, if it is air, if it is whatever. Like some people will just come in, okay, yes, you say you make braids, you say you do this, let us see pictures. So we have to bring out our phones to show them. So it is, because I can't just tell you online and tell you, okay, yes, we make good hair, we make good braids, we do this, we do that. They need to come in and see what we can do. So that's just the advantage of having a physical stuff.
Okay, so what are the constant ideas that should drive any hairstylist?
Focus. You have to be focused. You have to be respectful.
I
like that.
Respect.
Customer care. Oh. It's not that type of process where they that one, you know.
Because what I wanted to say, so in the modern way, how do you
do it?
I mean, for somebody who is a typical Nigerian and likes all the respect, how do you translate Ekpeleo to
me? Just be yourself. Like, don't fake it. Don't fake things. Be natural. Be neutral. Just do it, not because you want to satisfy the client. Do it because that is you. That is who you are.
So how do you do a customer's displeasure?
How do you
handle it?
That really happened. I think it was not day before yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, someone came in and she was not really happy with what a client was doing, and she was like, no. But then I had to come in and be like, ma'am, okay, we are working according to the picture you showed us. But if you don't want this, then just tell us, then we will. She was like, no, ma'am, please, just calm down. We do this thing. It's not as if it's spoiled like that. Just tell us what we want. And I had to beg. When she left, she was angry. I had to, I had her number, so I had to call her again to beg
Make
her.
sure she's okay.
So at the end of the day, she referred someone else yesterday.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Because
You need
that's
a good
awesome.
customer service
I was
job.
actually going to say, especially for somebody that brings something, you know that thing of this is what I ordered. And
That's
then your
what I
face
got.
will
What I got.
will not, and
Exactly.
then, you know, certain styles will not fit you. And
So you just need to take your time to explain.
okay.
Okay, this is how it's going to look good on yourself. It's fine.
Thank you so much, Mrs.
Thank
Olufumi
you, ma'am.
Akinyemi.
Thank
That
you
we'll be
very
speaking to
much.
the manager at Royal Unisex Salon and Spa. We'll be going on a short break now. When we come back, we move on to the topics of the day. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. We found this story and we thought it was worth discussing. A handler recently wrote that generational wealth is a sham. According to him, he had to work hard so as to be where he is, and also his children must do the same to make it. He further stated that he will finish his wealth before leaving the earth, leaving nothing for his children and next generation. So the question is, shouldn't parents look forward to leaving a legacy for their children? We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. So join the conversation on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. Ladies, will you finish your money before you die? Tell us.
So that's not the only person who has that philosophy. There is this actor too, James Bond actor, Daniel Craig, who said this recently, that isn't there an adage that says that if you die rich, you have failed. That's according to him.
Wow.
And so he has 2 children. He has a 29-year-old and he has a 2-year-old. His wife too has a teenage child, you know. And one is wondering, because one would think that maybe he doesn't even have children. And so he says he's not going to leave his multi-dollar fortune for anyone. He's going to spend everything before he dies. All right.
Is that even possible?
I like the way Honeyboy laughed.
Is that even possible?
I don't know if you think that is not possible, because you know, in that climb, people do retire. Sometimes, you know, some of them retire. And when they retire, they just want to live their life. They have other thoughts. They just want to
go on vacation.
I want to be on vacation on a yacht. Yes. Living my life, you know.
And they spend the money.
And spending the money because I've worked for it. So I actually think that it depends on the individual. If you ask me, I think it is about the philosophy, because some people will be like, I did not inherit anything. I worked so hard for this, and you should work so hard for it. And maybe some people would say that, yes, I've worked so hard for it. I have the money, but I don't even want my children to start thinking that they don't have to work. They have to put in the work, even if you have to inherit something in the long run. Because some of us, we are crying like, hey, no inheritance. So
my sister,
work hard. Oh my
Miriam. What's your
Okay,
thought?
so I mean, it's your right to choose whether to leave physical, cash, or assets for your generations to come. But I believe that there are different types of wealth, and that sometimes when a particular generation, the present generation, has worked hard, you would have left, whether it's cash or not, you would have left other forms of wealth for your children. You've taken them to the best schools. There's a status that maybe comes with your name that they already have.
Enjoy.
So that alone, for any right-thinking child, any well-behaved child, sort of has the perks and the advantages of just coming from that sort of family, and they can use it. So I can understand why someone would say, after giving you all this, I will take away the cash because I have laid the ground for you. I have wet the ground for you. You can now plant your own seeds. But if we keep this money in your hands, we've seen many families where there was a statistics I read, and it showed that almost 90% of the wealth of a family is lost by the 3rd generation.
They squander it.
Squandered because they don't even know how it started. They don't have the dream and the physique and the mindset to push, to fight for things like you had, because maybe from your time things were tough and you understood that I had no other option but to win, but to hustle, but to make sure that I do the most for myself and for my family. And then you have these children who were born in the bed of luxury. They don't know what it means to hustle. They don't understand what it means to suffer. All they know is that I wake up,
I want this,
yes, and I get it. And maybe parents have seen that work out and play out in many families, and they're saying, no, I'll give my child an opportunity to also fight for what they need, especially if I've provided for them everything that can help them achieve their own wealth.
Nima, what do you think
It depends, because I have a faith that emphasizes on, you know, how you leave what you have behind, not necessarily wealth or riches. Because when people talk about inheritance, you're looking at your grandparents and thinking, where are the riches? What I understand about that is, like Miriam said, the third generation. But before then, who first get an old model? So whatever your generation had, at the time, whatever wealth meant. So in the days of our mothers, wealth meant clothes. And yes, and you know, my mom would say, I remember when I was much younger, she would keep her bottom box. She came with all the royal beads from her father's house, being a princess, all those things. And in primary school, I lost everything because I don't know the one that is out there. You know, and when she put golds on me, the gold 1 year will not come back, that kind of thing. So I really didn't know. And so as I was growing up, I just had a different view to material things. I just knew I don't want to ever be bothered about whether something was expensive or whether I was rich and all of that. So I remember my wedding, and there was a list of what they needed to buy. I said, don't worry yourself. I don't know the difference of Hollandis and Ankara or Naklot. I don't know. So don't bother. I just like to look good. And it's my body that I used to carry cloth, not the cloth the other way. So really. And when she would start to pack things and say, this is what you go to your in-laws' house with, when you get there, you give your child. I say, don't worry. When it's her time, whatever is in vogue would interest
new
her.
models.
So she would work at getting it. And so my dad would smile because that's the kind of view he has to life. And he'll be like, this one gets my, you know.
It.
So eventually, properties didn't really bother any of us as we were growing up because that was what they wanted us to learn. So now we've lost our patriarch and nobody waited for anything to be shared. We voluntarily just said, leave it as it is for one person. So let everybody just, you know, go.
Wow.
So that's how we understand wealth. But in Islam, because some people struggle over materialism, we're encouraged to put it in writing, whatever you have. If you're even on a journey, you're dying, leave an instruction for the 1/3 of your estate. Leave an inventory of everything that you have. So that the Quranic heirs, which are your lineage, by how do I call it? By your groins, your children, your bloodline, are not left uncatered for. It is wrong that when you die, you just go into abject poverty. Islam doesn't encourage that. So whatever you have to give them a buffer. Give them, but it's not riches. So that people are not then greedy. You know the way we think here is, you know, that kind of thing. If you're not dealing with Toshi, it's not you who avert it. That's the mistake. I know someone who left his child 100 million naira estate, and within 2 years that she took it, she didn't even know how. She thought she was doing the right thing, and then she was just a pauper all of a sudden. So some things are not avertable. But if you give the child the skill to know better, to know how to manage wealth, and then maybe you leave something. Okay, leave them a grant to start their own business. Leave them something they can sell as money and start. And you give them the skill that it's always good to be honest and make legitimate halal money. Your child doesn't necessarily go into abject poverty. But this generational wealth is an African thing we hear all the time, that, you know, my generation to come will never be broke. So you see people, and it encourages such level of corruption here. Most of our politicians, leaders, have that mentality where they want to amass. We remember the big names. When you see their grandchildren today, they don't even have the ideologies that their forefathers had that built this nation.
Yeah, but Nima, there's a part of the scriptures that says, a good man layeth up riches for his children's children. I think that's where a lot of people began to say, okay, as I'm working, I've hustled through life. I wouldn't want my child to start from where I started from. So if, peradventure, I started from 1 bedroom with a mat, there was no bed, I was cooking with firewood, there was no stove and all that. I wouldn't really want my children to start from that level. So everybody has their levels, but shouldn't I, keep something that would help them, just cushion them to start? And if peradventure I now make it big, this is my peradventure, I now make it big, shouldn't I leave something that will make their lives easy?
Okay, so I have a story, and this is a true life story. I know one of these people, and this that happened, the parents did not, they didn't know that they were going to die, both of them, on the same day. And they were quite young. Now, I visited this person once, and I saw all the things the parents left. They were quite young. They were children, when the parents died, and they both died on the same day.
Wow.
And I think they have good family members who took care of them and helped them with whatever thing their parents left. But I saw that they had more than one house. And I wondered if the parents knew that they were going to die early, because they were quite young. They were, those children were barely, children, as I said. And the parents, too, were very young. So I don't know how they got that wisdom to quickly work for whatever thing, as if they just knew that they were going to die.
Wow.
And that is what I can say has helped those children. They grew up and the families left something, gave them those things that they kept for them. And they sent them through school and all of this. So I think for those people, they would look back and they would appreciate the inheritance. So I think because of maybe unseen circumstances and all of this, then you can say that you just want to protect your children. And as Miriam said, when you send your children to good schools, because I think that is one of the things I would say my own parents gave me. They sent me to a convent boarding house, and it was good. It was good. I learned so much from there. As people talk about, it has disadvantages, it has disadvantages and all that.
You saw just the advantages.
In fact, the advantages for me, oh my gosh. Like, okay, I started working, and my colleague told me that, she had to go for a business lunch, and she did not know how to behave there. I used my complete set of cutlery from GSS 1 to, I know how to set my table.
Wow.
I know not to drag my feet when I walk. I know how to carry myself as a lady. I know that when I wake up in the morning, I meditate. So I know all of those things. So I think it is one of the things that they have given me. It might not be money, like physical cash.
Yeah, so let's take a short break. When we come back, we take phone calls and messages. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we have Honorable Oshu from Ikeja calling. Good morning, Honorable. We lost that. So I wanted to ask, a question. I know that one of the reasons some people are being skeptical about leaving generational wealth is because they have seen over the years how some children have squandered the monies left by their parents and grandparents and everything. And everybody's praying to have a child who has sense, so to speak. But if you now have a child who is what I call an ifulef, who doesn't want to apply, you have done everything. So their children you have sent to the best schools abroad and everything, and they come back and they're not even interested in what you're saying. They just want to live a big life, not understanding the hustle you went through as a parent to get them to where they are. Would you consider leaving anything for that sort of child?
Okay, this is what I think. I think it's the values that you teach your child that eventually inherit. So you who taught your child luxury, buy it, anything you want, pay for it. The child would grow entitled, think I can afford it. My parents have already worked the money. My dad used to say, he had a friend who was from a generational wealth. And his mother was passing and was dragging my father that, please, there's a reason I want him to be your friend so that he doesn't waste everything. Because his lifestyle, women, everything, he just takes and wastes. Even the partner they had to get him to marry, they kept, since they couldn't train him, tried to train the wife so that the generation after him, his own children, don't come broke. The parents did their work, but he was the last child and they didn't force him to...
They didn't teach him.
They tried. They tried, but he just felt entitled. So it's important that parents do much more than try. And for some children, let them go through it. And so the parents forced him to the college where my dad was training then. And even though his elder ones were in the US, medicine and all of that, he was in that college where my father thought, this is where I am. This is when they saw his family and what are you doing here? The parents said it's because of the kind of child he is.
Nima, hold that thought. Let me take this call from Ibrahim. Ibrahim from Nasarawa State. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Ibrahim from Nasarawa State calling.
Good morning. You're live.
Thank you. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's quite a very interesting topic and issue under discussed. Just like the rightly said about the Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22, it said, a good man leaves inheritance for his children.
Yeah.
And I want us to look beyond this context. This inheritance of a thing is beyond material things. That is the way I see it. When you have children and you don't offer them quality education, you don't offer them what they should do to get what they need to do in life legally and morally, honestly, you have not left any inheritance for them. It's a very good thing for a father to leave inheritance for his children, at least for, not for anything, but at least they should have a start of something in their life. But it should not be the most primary thing for a father to do that, killing himself to look for money for the children. Once you can offer them education, fear of God, I think you have done your best for them.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Inheritance is a good thing for a father to leave for his children.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Yes, you were finishing up the story of...
So for that parents, they tried to force that value. And when they saw that he still was having difficulty with it, they put the people around him to force the thought. So they willed what they had to the wife. Yes, and, you know, the friends around him, they made them, you know, people who would talk to him. I remember growing up, when he comes to my house, we used to call him Where Your Papa. And that's what, that's what he says to us all the time when he comes to look for my dad. And my father would say, this is my friend, you know. This is how the parents are concerned about him. You know, so when you have a child like that and you know that the values are what you want to give, but the child is not learning it, you have to find a way to force it, because no matter what you leave for that child, you close it will be gone in seconds with the kind of lifestyle they're used to. And then maybe we shouldn't just allow our children this kind of lifestyle. We should make sure that, as the last caller said, teach them the things that will live longer than material things. For some children, they don't have the intention to waste, but life happens. So how do they get back up, this resilience? Because they never know. Some people have never, you know, they're just confused and they slip into depression, and that's it. Some people just go suicide, and that's all they think about. We're Nigerians, we're known to be resilient people. So if you find your wealth being squandered, you do something about it. You get up and make new wealth.
So I totally agree with Nima. You know, how you train your children, the values you inculcate, those are the things that they are going to grow up and, you know, those ones will come in handy wherever they find themselves, whether you left something physical for them or you did not, they have to work for it. But one thing, well, I talked about school the other time, how my parents sent me. My parents weren't rich, or will I say that, well, my father is late, my mother is still alive. Not that they, do you understand? They were just, and they tried. They really, really tried to, like. And so what I understand is, especially when you send or you want to choose schools for your children, according to my parents, they didn't say it all, but I think they're just buying you, you know, that thing that we call network these days, that, you know, so they're looking for a school that, you know, the people that you mix with at the end of the day, you know, looking at the future, they can actually, that can help you to a large extent, perhaps. I mean, all right. But then I would like to talk about succession plans too. You know, in Nigeria, we really do not have that succession plans. Yes, you might have all the money in the world. And that is why we talk about certain brands and we're like, oh, so they've been like that forever. They have a recipe they use and they stayed like that. But here in Nigeria, you find somebody who is very, very rich. And then the person passes on, and somehow everything just collapses. Nothing to, you know, pass on, or and maybe they even left, but as you said. So we really do not have that writing will, you know.
Yes.
How
We don't
do I
like to
put
write
it?
wills here.
We don't like to write wills. We don't have it. We hear it all the time.
And
But
we
you know how,
refuse
because
to.
we are religious, I will not die in Jesus. Even when your wife is saying it to you, you're looking
Even
at
when
your
you're on
wife
the
in a
sick
way.
bed,
Do you
you will not die
understand?
in Jesus'
So
name.
number one, we do not have that. We do not write wills, and we do not help our children, even if they do not want to do what we do exactly. You can help them. Maybe one of them can like what you, and it might not even be like your children who will inherit it or take over your company. It might even be staff who have been working for
All
your
right,
parents for
let's take
some
this
work.
call from London. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Emily.
My name is Angoli.
Angoli.
Angoli, A-N-U-L-I. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for this great conversation.
Thank you.
Mariam, hi.
Hi.
Hello. Well done, you're doing such a great job as usual. And first, condolences to Murayo. Really sorry for the loss.
Thank you.
To talk about this conversation today about generational wealth. My understanding about inheritance is that it's relative. The way you understand inheritance might be different from the next person, right? And that understanding and application goes with the way we are raised and then the way we raise our children. So for me personally, I've got stories. When I was growing up, yes, privileged background, but in uni, my parents refused to buy me a car. I had to enter bus like everybody else, stay on campus like everybody else, because they're trying to instill into me the importance of hard work. You work hard. Education is very important to get what you want. You fly all the business and all of that, but there's always teaching there. Going to secondary school, I write 2 sets of provisions. My mother will cut me down with her red pen to 1.5. Go and manage. Go and learn how to manage. Another inheritance I really praise God for is that my dad loves to read. And it's that inheritance of education and reading books we took from him.
Wow.
So he will always take us, every time we go out of the country, trust me, we're visiting libraries and we're visiting bookstores. And he's trying to instill into us the importance of books. So there's a particular bookstore in London, Foyle's Bookstore, that my dad took all of us to. I went to a bookstore for the first time with my dad. And my daughter is 7, and I kept telling her about taking her to a bookstore when the pandemic is over. And by God's special grace, during the summer, it was one of the list of things to do. I took her to the bookstore that my father took me to, showed her where all the books are, how you can select books. But that is an inheritance. What am I trying to say? Whatever you...
Awesome. Thank you so much, Angeli. Miriam.
Okay, so, I mean, I agree with everyone at the table and everyone that's been calling. And I just wanted to maybe take it to another angle where we're now talking to parents or families who have this wealth and they're thinking, I'm not going to pass it on. You know, I referred earlier to an article that I'd read and it was talking about generational wealth, where it says that 7 out of 10 families, of the families that they had used for this particular survey and study, 7 out of 10 of them had lost their wealth by the 2nd generation, and 9 out of 10 families had lost their wealth by the third.
Wow.
So it's saying that some of the reasons why generational wealth, you know, disappears or fritters away is because the generation that has the wealth does not prepare the generation coming after it to take over, to take the wealth, to grow the wealth. It says people, yes, believe that wealth begets wealth, but it's not just the availability of it that begets wealth. It's how to hold it, how to manage it, how to multiply it, how to create it. And most parents do not do that. It talks about parents do not talk to their next generation about money. The only thing that the child knows is how to spend it. And they said also, there's another myth where it shows that the children tend to squander the money, but the children learn their money habits from their parents, from the generation before them. So if because you had that money and all they saw was how you spent it, not how you made it or how you multiplied it, that is the way they would.
It's a problem.
Would live
hold
their
on
life.
there. Let me hold that thought. We have a caller, Honorable Ashu from Ikeja. Good morning, Honorable. We lost him.
Okay.
So finish up.
Yes, okay. And then there's another one, which is how the children spend the money. The children will spend the money on the sort of things that you spend money on as well.
Yeah, watching.
You know, you had talked about those luxuries, so they would spend on luxury because that's what they have learned. So sometimes it's the failure already starts from the generation that has money. So if you want your next generation to be able to build on the wealth that you have created in this generation, then you must prepare them. They must understand financial literacy. There are a couple of people I met some time ago. I think I mentioned them to you. They come from wealth. And I find them quite naive in the way they are with people. I'm like, sometimes I question, how do you come from such
this
an
sort
advantage, and you don't understand to be wise about who you
bring close to you,
what you say to people, because the fact that you have so much wealth, there's a mark on your head. There are people who are looking at you who really want to be friends with you. There's somebody are thinking you're an easy way for them to get out of whatever situation. So there are people just surrounding you that want to use you. And I don't see their parents, you would see their parents are smarter, are wiser about this, but their children are so naive and laid back about life. So you need to prepare your child for the sort of wealth it is that you're handing over to them.
I'm going to take
this is awesome.
Yes, I'm going to take a cue from what you have said.
Okay, hold on a bit.
Okay.
I want us to direct the conversation because I think we have just a few minutes before our guest for today. How do we begin to build values in our children, whether we have the wealth or not?
So,
what are some of those things that we want to leave behind so that no matter what happens, they can stand on their own 2 feet?
I am just going to say one thing, and that is, it might not necessarily be the hard things that you start to teach your children, but one of the things I learned from my parents, anytime I wrote my list of provisions, my father would say to me, because there were people who brought 4 sets of provisions to school, they had everything. Now, my parents did not make me see or think that they had everything. And even if they had the money, they would tell me that, you see, if you're going to have cornflakes, you might not have golden one. You might have to. So it was a scale of preference for me. And one thing I tell people all the time, because it has helped me, I am not that person who sees because somebody has bought a designer bag and then I go and kill myself over it. Because I remember vividly, I started working and somebody was selling a designer bag and told me to come and buy. And I told the person that I couldn't afford it. She was like, no. I said I had exceeded my budget for the month. That was just keeping it mildly. And she was like, no, you can hold it anytime you have the money. What she mentioned was more than my salary. Where was I supposed to get it? I couldn't even afford it, and I had to tell her the truth. So I am not one that pretends, and that is what I have learned. And I discovered that, you know, coming for me when we were going on holidays, my parents would ask, well, did you borrow anything from anybody? They just wanted to, like, you know, sort it out and all that. And then they would discover that I did not even collect anything from. I was content, and it was because of the things that
your business.
Yes, and I think it was just the way they trained me.
Yeah, Nima, what are some of those things that we can? Because you are a value integrity sort of person, and I really admire how you handle certain situations. So help, you know, parents out there who are watching, who feel, because I have this, I can easily just make their lives easy and not pay attention.
So it's not necessarily giving your children a hard life that trains them.
Okay.
It's letting them learn what the power, Maya mentioned it's how to work at money. So you can't be a farmer and all your child sees is the harvest, not the planting. I met a young lady, I'd seek apologies later. Her name, she has a business called Onidoko in Surulere. And when I came there, I assumed it was generational wealth because right in the middle of the business is her grandmother's picture. So I was like, this is what informed this business. You can't be in this kind of business because it's for older people. And she smiled. She said, no, this woman was a market woman on the island.
Wow.
But she lived with her grandmother. She learned how to run a business. I'd like to have an expose on this woman. Young, amazingly hardworking young woman, and I just kept studying her. For her, she thought I was the fan, I was the star, but I was fancying the woman. So you teach your children, no matter the situation, and this person knows how to live well. She dresses well, she's not poor, but she earns her money legitimately. So you teach your child, no matter what you love, learn to earn the means to it legitimately. You put proper value. So what I would never do is steal. to live. I would never, you know, so those values, as long as that line is not crossed, I can buy myself anything that I call luxury.
Yes.
Whatever I call luxury doesn't have to be what you call luxury, but what I consider my own luxury is good for me. And I always say to you, why do you need 3 cars when you can only drive 1 per time? And why do you need a mansion when you can sleep in 1 corner of the house? So
there was something I did recently. So my daughter met me and said she wanted a phone. And she gave me the name of the phone. You know, when they go to all these kind of schools, they hear things and everybody's doing shaprapra. Once I want it, I tell my parents they can get it for me. I said, okay, what skill do you want to use now to earn the money for this phone? And he said, I can write. I said, okay, write a book, complete the book. It gets to publishing. And we get you a phone to appreciate what you've done. And from the proceeds of, we'll start saving money for you to get the things that you want. And we have been going back and forth on this. She's like, Mommy, I don't like talking to you. I prefer to talk to Daddy. I said, Daddy will not answer you on this one because I begged my husband, I said, we need to start building the value. You work hard, I work hard. They need to see it. It's not just the pizza and ice cream and everything. They need to see the process. And then there was a time in primary school, my son was writing storybooks and selling in school. And the teacher was upset. And when he came, I said, was he stealing? No. He was selling storybooks and people were buying. When I got home, I told my son, you're a businessman. You will join me in this business. So we really need to focus on the values that we give to our children, whether we have the money or not, so that in case anything happens and we are not there, they will be able to stand on their own 2 feet. That's all we can take on this story. When we come back, we move on to other topics. Stay with us.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us now is a Nigerian jazz percussionist and drummer and musician who has released about 7 albums and jointly won 2 Grammy Awards. Welcome, Olalekan Babalola. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Reading up about you, I was particularly interested in Ifa.
Yes, me too.
Yes, I want to know why you decided. No, honestly, why you decided to go the Ifa route, where we have a lot of people running away from our religion and traditions, and everybody just wants to adopt what seems to be the light, and calling what we have or what we used to have the darkness.
If I choose me or chosen, my English is not good, please.
It's okay, sir. You're in Nigeria.
I really don't mind that because I had the discussion with you before we came.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
I won't agree with that.
All right. If I picked me, I was born into Aladura sensibility.
Exactly.
Okay.
My father was a pastor, a choir master, Aladura Church at Agege, Ifako. Where are we?
We're in Magodo area.
Ifako Agege. Then the old church is at Ifako Agege. Then the new church will be at the Third Mainland Bridge, Mount Sinai.
Okay.
My parents' church.
Okay.
So if I choose me, really, and I am the Yoruba, born and bred in Lagos Island Hospital, Lagos Island Maternity Hospital, the famous one, 1960, before the independence, May 15. I like to show off about that. I drove the English out of the country. Yes, you did. And I was into Aladura from day 1, day 2. But my mother, she's from Ikperu, the Agbemagbe family. Okay. And the Jebu Remo people, they do practice whatever is Abranic culture. But one thing about the Jebu people that I do find out is that they still practice their own tradition underneath the table.
Wow.
Yeah. My mother is from Ikperu. And my father is from Ileogbo, the Oshogbo. Okay. And my father went to public school, Kiriji. My mother went to public school girl, Methodist Girls High School. But my father somehow, he had a tribal mark. Okay. And my mother from Ijebu, they gave this guy hell.
We can imagine.
My mother is older than my father.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't do it.
Cool.
You know.
Yeah. At the time.
Those days. Wow. So my mother and my father, originally, they're Muslim. From Oyo area. So this guy came to Lagos. He wants to be part of the thing that is happening in Lagos. And you know Christianity, there's a little bit of it that is class.
Okay.
Yes, class structure. I live in England. You have the aristocrat, which is the queen. You have the royal family right there at the top. Then you have the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Yes.
Then you have the aristocrat.
Yes.
Then you have the upper class.
Yes.
Then you have the upper middle class. Then you have the lower middle class. Then you have the middle class.
Yes.
Then you have the working class. Then you have the plebs.
Oh, wow.
So church, English language is a class. You go to those days, you have to go to Christ Church in Lagos or everywhere. I mean, it's about English language. You have to understand. And the Abrahamic culture of the other side, which is the
Traditions.
Muslim, it's of course about language. So it's the English language and Islamic language, which is the Arabic, clashing. It's a clash of culture that's going on. I removed myself.
Okay.
You didn't want wala.
No. And I saw it when I was growing up. But it's very kind of holistic, and the spiritualism of what is Ifa is I'm on a quest. I don't know it. But what I've seen about the two Abrahamic culture has been kind of a detriment to the lives of the Africans. Please, I'm not converting here.
Yeah, but we'd like to hear about it.
It's what is good for me. And so far, Ifa has been the savior for me. So that's why.
Okay. So while reading about you, you said that every opportunity you have to come to Nigeria, you jump at it, and then you come to Nigeria, you like to play in Nigeria and all that. So looking at what you do, I would like to ask, why is it that at every opportunity, of course, Nigeria is where you belong or you come from, but then why is it that you like to come play in Nigeria? How is what you do accepted, you know, in the UK where you reside?
Okay. I'm a Yoruba. My name is Olalekan Babalola. And no, I'm not a Nigerian. I'm a Yoruba. I don't understand the Nigerian project, but I was born in the Nigerian project. I'm a born-again Yoruba. I've traveled to Cuba where people practice the form. I've traveled the Caribbean. I've traveled to Brazil. In Caribbean, in Cuba, it's seen as Santeria, Lukumi, which is the language of my mother, Olukumi, my friend. The way they see Orisha, in heaven to earth, how did you come here? Is your Ori that guided you here? So the point to your question is my Ori that gave me the ability to be accepted. I'm not evangelizing anything or evangelizing Ifa. I'm actually practicing the form that it goes with my language, my being. So when I come to Nigeria, the only thing that I think that is left for me in this Nigeria are the verses of Ifa, hanging around with the Babalao, hanging around with the great drummers, hanging around with the Awoni Sheshe. I can't come here to study English.
Okay.
Of course not.
I'll go to Somerset for that. I'll go to Dorset. I'll go to Lancashire. I can come to Nigeria.
For Yoruba.
Oh, I would like to know who are the Olodus of Orumilas. I would like to know why Shango did not hang at Koso.
This is deep stuff.
You did? I would like to know why Osun Shegesi, beautiful woman, elegant, more than Naomi Campbell.
Oh, wow.
More than what you will see at Alara, Lagos. More than the food that you will see at Knock. More than palette, you will go to Harrods, you know, and see elegancy. These are the kind of things that come. That's what is left in Yoruba language.
Do you wear any other color besides white?
I wear all colors apart from black. Yes.
So in African tradition, some talents are supposed to be handed down. So you have Anyonwale, something in Oyo, for instance, and in that lineage, all they do is, you know, that's
the guild.
Skill.
Yeah, the guild.
Do you study that in line of music, and do you plan? Do you have children?
A very, very intelligent woman. I like your question. In a friend of mine is the Ladi Law for your respect, BC Laka, BC Laka.
My name is BC.
Yes. When BC were being confirmed as the Ladi Lawyer, I took myself to the Guild of the Ayon in Oyo at his compound in his area to go and pay my homage and do the rites to become part of the guild of the Iron. So I went through that. I am in the fire initiated gentle boy.
Awoni?
Yes, Orunmila. So because if you want to be an Alhaji, you have to perform the Haji, you have to go to Mecca. If you want to become the Reverend, you have to go to Jerusalem.
True.
So if you want to be Babalawo, you have to go and sit in the Igbodo of Ifa. I sat 14 days in Ibadan Idianyure.
Wow.
With 21 Babalawos, learning the form of what it is. So here is what the form is. And in the Odu of Ifa, you have up to about maybe 50,000, oh my God, music. Because in each Odu is 256 Odu. Wow. Yeah? 16 major Odu. 16 times 16 is 256. Wow. So we have SFA, like maybe 10,000. Kosento Monton, nobody knows it all. Wow. So within that, we have Iyere, Ijala, SFA, and they all kind of, every step they are doing in the Ifa, there's a song to it. And that's what inspired me, not the Epo, not the Eje, not the thing. It's like when you go to church, I mean, somebody is reciting the Psalm. Look, Bilal is the first guy that called the prayer when he said, Allahu Akbar, that energy. So when you see Babalawo on the good day when they're reciting the Yerefa, oh, there's nothing beautiful like opera like that. No, really.
I'm listening
no,
to
really.
you. Wow.
Really. And it's like these are the kind of things that I've studied over the years. Books and books and books. Lecture, go around the university, around the world. And it's like, my question is that, why did the Yoruba treat away? That's my question.
Go ahead, Miriam.
So I'm listening to you and I realize how robbed I've been of my
you've been denied
culture.
Nigerian culture. The Christian religion and the culture and Western culture just comes easily to me because I grew up, I listened, went to school, and I'm here. And the only times I hear about the culture of Nigeria is when we're talking about rituals and human sacrifice and how it is dark. And here you are talking about it so beautifully and how much we have. So I'm listening to you and I'm saying, okay, are you doing anything, or how do we grab you and say, and have you start to teach us? And where do we go for some of us who are just curious and interested in understanding where we come from and how we can make it a part of our lives daily and also introduce our children to it? Where do we start?
Ifa is philosophy.
Okay.
Ifa is psychology. Ifa is history. Ifa is mathematics. Ifa is... you name all the subjects. It's Ifa. I teach at university. I studied film and television. Yeah. And let's put the blood away. Let's put the thing away. When you see the Christian going at it, chewing that psalm, the parable, the Proverbs, the New Testament, they were actually unpacking. What the pastor is doing in the church is unpacking the scripture. So when you say Babalawo or a good guy who knows Eleyo, we call them Eleyo, who knows the SFA, they can unpack that thing. And it's actually the grace of God. It's the grace of God for any pastor, really. Adeboye, great guy. Look, can you see Paul Adefarasin speaking English? The way he dressed, the manners and everything. You think like that, a Babalawo that studied at Harvard, or Yale, or Connecticut, or Princeton, or Ife. Look at Professor Wande Abimbola, the way he would deliver the Odu and swim in it in the language of it. So, and he dressed really nice. It's just, it's education, not Western education. It's self-education.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, let me talk about quickly your music.
Oh yeah, my music.
You've won 2 Grammy Awards.
Right, yeah.
And according to you, you didn't set out to win these awards.
No.
So when it came to you, what did that tell you about the sort of music that you're doing?
It's God, you know. Everything is God. Everything belongs to God. Everything I do belongs to God. What is Igbagbo? When they said Igbagbo, with the Yoruba people argue with that thing, and they condemn her, Muslim. They said, yeah, Igbagbọ́ means to believe. You can believe
anything.
You can believe iPhone 8 if you got that money.
And it will work for you.
I never went into music to become a Grammy Award winning. I went into music because the spirit of the music
called you.
Yeah, and I answered to it.
Yeah, but does it make a difference that knowing that you were called and then you got this award? Has it made a difference?
Well, it made a difference because when I was going in music, you know, it's a kind of a conscious decision that I want to be able to sit with my colleague, my peers that I went to school with, both here in Nigeria, accountant, lawyer, philosopher, writer, baker. It's a profession. I just want to be equal with everybody else. Okay. So the Grammy came to actually make me Boboroni Mariwonyo. You feel me?
Yeah. Attraction.
Well, it's the grace of God, you know.
All the corners that you want to put it. All right, so I'd like to ask, looking at the music industry in Nigeria, and looking at what, you know, is so popular right now, you know, the Afrobeats and you know, the hip-hop, Afro-hip-hop and all of that. What would you say, especially for somebody like you who plays an instrument and then, you know, looking at the youth that we have? At the moment,
the type of music.
Yeah, the type of music we listen to. Because, of course, you would agree with me that we have some people who still play the instruments and all of this, especially the people who use live band and all that. But... Intelligent
women here.
But where do you think we are headed with what is so popular at the moment?
Auntie, you know I'm a Malian.
Oh, really?
You are? You are? Wow.
I'm just waiting for the guy to initiate me into
Interesting.
I really want to meet him so bad.
Wow.
I think what Olumide is doing.
Olamide,
Naira Marley.
How about Wizkid?
Wizkid,
Yo, yeah.
Burna Boy, Don Jazzy, Davido, Q Dot, Tiwa Savage. I think what they're doing, they're saving us, they're saving our skin. And I think we should support them. If I have had that kind of support,
at the time,
I think I would still be in Nigeria.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I think Naira Marley, what they're doing, they actually, I think they are saving bacon.
Okay.
Really?
But what do you have to say about the content of the music, the lyrics?
Well, we will get there. I think we will get there because we need to actually do this first. When we do this, when we get to where the podium is, the international podium, we will now begin to bring the text, the content, what concerns us. But at the moment, in fact, who's mentoring them?
You know, sometimes my fear is...
That's the question.
With the music that we are listening to now and, you know, we have now, my fear is that I hope we're not just a flavor of the moment.
No, we're
and then a couple of years, would never hear about our artists and our kind of music. Because at some point it was the
Latino music.
Yes, there was reggae, there was Latina, you know, from South America.
Hip-hop.
And now it's us. How do we make sure that this is mainstream forever? Yes.
It's been us for a long time. I think it's because we are a nation that we have a very strong, Nigeria or Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba, is a very strong identity, very strong history, very, very strong. It's not like Jamaica that is made up or Trinidad that is created by the English. You know, this is a nation that God created. And the identity, this is a nation that the disperse of the many, like maybe over hundreds, millions of Africans left to the New World, you know, to form another thing. In Cuba, it came as a salsa. In Brazil, it came as maybe samba. In Jamaica, it came as reggae.
But this is the original.
In Calypso, it came at, in Trinidad, it came as Calypso. In England, it came as rock. In America, it came as blues and jazz. Here now, you know, fella, they created Afrobeat. So we're now moving to the area. Look, when Fela was playing, Europeans didn't understand what he was saying, right? So I think this is the generation that is moving into the forward to the area whereby we Africans, we're actually seen as a human being, sister.
For the first time.
For the first time.
I was going to see how you're doing, what you're doing to mentor towards music, but you created a band, the Echo Brass Band.
Ah, you've read.
And
you've done research.
I would like to know where it is right now, because, you know, this is a band based here.
Okay. Echo Brass Band, when I created Echo Brass Band 10 years ago, I came into the country to do the musical directing for the Eyo in the honor of Tos Benson. In the band was the Faji Agba, Fatan Rolling Dollars, SFL Olowo Kere, Baba Teje from Abeokuta, Chief Onobanjo from Abeokuta, Shino Ayinde Bakare, the son of Ayinde Bakare. So it's the spectrum of the Faji Agba, curated by Kunle Tejo, my friend, Glendora Jasco. So I was brought in to do that, and I was standing at my friend's shop, Ebony Casket, who owns the best funeral director in Lagos. Then I had this kind of Bocos band, which is like the second line in New Orleans, which is the brass and percussion. In Nigeria, they call it Bocos.
Bocos, okay.
Yeah, it's the brass band. So I formed the Echo Brass Band. The idea of the Echo Brass Band is to play Nigerian hits music, which is from any hits music. And we've been playing, thanks to Professor Wole Soyinka, who's been supporting us during the Black Heritage Festival. We've done shows, and people like Ayola Shadari of the Lagos International Jazz Festival took us to Barista Jazz Festival. We share the same stage with Femi Kuti and Huma Sekela. So where the band is now is that we've done an EP, rough EP, which I kind of asked, begging money from my friends, whatever. So we're going to put this EP out, and then we continue to represent Lagos, because we believe a Echo Brass Band, the music that we play is the sound of Lagos. Yeah, not Yabao.
Lagos is Lagos now.
Yeah.
Lagos is just Lagos Island.
Yeah, Lagos.
Lagos Island.
Eko is different from Yabao.
Wow.
We're foreigners.
Because I was born in Lagos.
Lagos State.
Not Yaba, not Shomolu.
Oh, we are lost. We're not Lagosians, so we don't know.
Yeah, the sound we're doing is Eko.
That's the island market area now.
That's right. We're based in campus, campus square. So we play fancy. We play Faji. So we want to be the Ashoju Oba. We are the Ashoju Oba, the Royal Brass.
Yeah.
So how is the support of the present Oba towards you? Because and I have a problem. So we see traditionalists, when they take their coronation, they represent all religions. And you've come here, you said Ifa is the religion of the land. The custodians of it are supposed to be, traditionalists, but they do other things. How is the support, number one, and how do you explain this?
Okay.
Various forms of...
I curated in 2015 or something. Professor Wole Soyinka brought me in to curate the street procession to celebrate the Lagos at 50. And then we did that. The support is little, Auntie.
You say Auntie.
But I know we can get the support. This is our country. If we can have a woman president.
Aye. We're getting there.
Sir, you've come here, you have changed me. I want to be an
things can change if we men can stand back for a bit. I don't think a lot of men will like it, because I have 4 girls and I want to see my girls.
One of your daughters be president. Amazing.
I think men have been doing it for since Lugard time.
Yeah, I haven't been doing a very good job at it.
Discuss with Lugard. They're the one that discuss with the Governor General.
Colonialists.
All those English guys,
so
all
are
those
you
boys.
saying that when a woman becomes the president, you would have the full support?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We've been speaking with Olaleko Babalola, a percussionist and musician. You have been lovely, amazing. Some of us are going to study this Ifa to learn.
Yes, seriously.
And I hope we learned a thing or two from today's show. That's all we can take till we come your way again on Monday. Bye for now.